Guys, deluded. YouTube's Lucas Torreira. I'm back again. Aaron Ramsey, Mesut Ozil, Hendrik Mkhitaryan. Three players I've got a lot of time for. I mean, Mkhitaryan, he came, while I do think you need to see a bit more from him because he showed it against Everton. And I actually didn't want him when he was signed. I just wanted to hear Martial. I was actually quite annoyed that we were swapping Alexis for him. I'd rather just get the money. But when he came, I saw he could be I've always thought he's a decent player. I just didn't want him. But now I can see he's a decent player. He can link up well. He's had his moments, like against AC Milan. He's a good addition for the squad. I don't think you can rely on him, similar to Ozil to a degree. But they're good players. Mesut Ozil, you guys know I'm extremely biased. I'll critique him when I need to critique him. But I do think he's been given an unfair time based on the game against City. Before people jump down my throat, I think he was clearly poor offensively. Weirdly, things you attribute with Mesut Ozil: first touch, final ball. He might not be attributed with finishing, but a couple of opportunities. The first touch wasn't there, was appalling. But he mashed in his work defensively, and he tried and all of them things. Obviously, he slipped into old habits, but he definitely out of Ramsey, Mkhitaryan, and Ozil was definitely the better player on the pitch, in my opinion. I can't tell you any different, but neither were good enough, if we're being honest. Now, if we're looking at it, give or take, if we're playing an offensive lineup or we're looking at our best team to try and score the most goals or create the most opportunities, they're three players they're in the side, innit? So I get it, and I get it. I want to see an attacking Arsenal side. I want to see us play actual Wenger ball, which we haven't for the last 2-3 years. Play nice football in that. I mean, City are great offensively, defensively, and tactics-wise, but they've got all the stars on. Sane, Sterling, Mahrez. Two of the three are always on. You want to see your best players play all the time. But from a manager's point of view, or my point of view, I believe it's a long, hard season. I believe every player. I don't actually believe in guaranteed players, guaranteed starters. Actually, ironically, people. Obviously, there's members in your squad that are more or less going to play every game, but different games require different things. There might be an incident. I don't know. If I'm Welbeck, I'm probably not going to use him too tough this season, other than incidences like I'm about to say. If there's a game where you want to go 4-3-3 and you want to press high and you want to Bamia and Lacazette, you might bring Welbs on the flanks because he might not be blessed technically, but he's going to help with that and work down the flanks. There might be some games where it's just a one strike or something like that. So on the basis of our midfielders, they all have different strengths. There's games where we can be compact, Guedezi, Xhaka, Torreira, or whatever examples. Games where we need to be better offensively, where you need Ozil, Ramsey, Mkhitaryan all shoehorned into the side. But I do believe at times they're shoehorned, and even against Manchester City, I'm not gonna. All of them were good enough to play better and get a result, and I do think they can all play in the same side because they did it against AC Milan many a time and they've played quite well. But do you think we're taking a risk with all three of them in the side, people? I say this because you saw Mkhitaryan definitely stopped following his runners. Ozil drifted inside. Ramsey was the worst out of all three of them for me. He was probably higher than Aubameyang at times, and he just completely went AWOL in my opinion. Again, that he was clearly told that from the manager and things like that. But for me, I'm looking at it, and if I'm being cynical, you couldn't really rely on them in the sense that they're great attackers, but when it came to the fine arts, they were all three were letting us down. So we're taking a risk. If we have 11 players and 3 are gone, we're at a disadvantage. So I don't necessarily think we should force both, specifically Mkhitaryan and Ozil, both into the same side. Definitely not both of them on the flanks. By some logic, that was a bit suicidal. It can go right for us when it's a compact midfield and all the passes and that, but I don't feel it's by force to play all three. In fact, I do think all three can and should play together and start consistently. But by the same logic, I also feel you can afford to take one out of the side. It's about different sort of things. And I think that maybe, if I'm being harsh, that kind of let us down to a degree because they slipped into old habits. Who knows? If Ramsey's there, if Ramsey and these men are there for a couple of incidences how we needed them to be, maybe certain things happen. Now, I'm not getting at Ramsey going forward. Typically, he does that all the time. But for me, he used to do that. Definitely, I'm going to say used to because under Wenger. For no reason. Like, again, you need balance. At times, he plays best when he has balance, when he times them runs. Like you see typically on big occasions, like in the FA Cup final, when he times them. Too often than not, he's running around and doing unpolished stuff. It's about, again, it ties into my video about being street smart. For Ramsey to recognise, okay, I need to do this. For me, it's just like Mkhitaryan will do it, but once he's one of them, man, once they get tired, they're just fully not on it. Like, there was times he was right next to people and just letting them brush through, and Mesut Ozil was just Mesut Ozil. I actually think Mesut Ozil put a shift in defensively, but you're never going to be able to rely on him defensively. And I just believe whether it's Mkhitaryan and Ramsey and Ozil, Ramsey and Mkhitaryan, Ozil and Mkhitaryan, I do think all three can play together, but I'm starting to think if they're going to carry on like how they carry on based against City, I think only two of the three could really play, could really afford to play, in my opinion. If it's a 4-3-3, it's a bit different. But yeah, man. And even if it's a 3-5-2, Ramsey gets in, Ozil gets in, I'll probably drop Mkhitaryan. Like, that's actually what I'll go against Chelsea, to be fair, because we've had success with that formation of late against them. And if you saw, I will expand on this in my preview of the game, but if you saw them against Huddersfield, at times it looked like a 4 in attack. Obviously, they're not setting out with 4 in attackers, but the transitional is 4 players. You saw against Manchester City, we were being doubled up on either flanks time and time again. So if we've got 5 defenders, they're attacking in 4. My maths is poor. I just about passed that at GCSE level, but that would mean we have 1 extra man. Again, it's not as binary as that, but you get the point in it. So yeah, guys, deluded. Let me get out you guys here. I don't know the point of this vid, but I thought, let me get my thoughts off my chest. Guys, deluded. I'm out, man.